this New Year's season to enjoy a wonderful gift. Most of you know who was on the program tonight, so it's not a surprise. We believe it's an absolute treat to have music of any kind, especially when it's first class.
So tonight you're going to meet a person who's most comfortable composing for live musical stage shows. He's a dear friend of ours and he's been on the program before, but not by himself. Tonight he will be. But first, we wish everyone to know our intent for the program tonight, and here it is. Our intent is to give you a peaceful, loving experience filled with heartwarming energy and the feeling that indeed you are truly loved beyond measure.
I personally get excited when we have music on the program, and it's such a heartfelt experience just all by itself. So I'm going to tell you this. What happens tonight is going to just marry so perfectly to our affirmations and our intent for this program. So I'd love you to just sit back, let the energy of tonight flow to you.
And speaking of flowing to you, we are going to begin our evenings like we always do with affirmations, because we believe in the incredible power of our own voices making statements of intent that can manifest change within our lives. And so as that music starts to flow all around us now, in fact, you may even wish to put on earphones to hear this in a more intimate way, because there's a third language present within the music, the language of love. And let's take a moment to drop into our hearts and then become fully present within this now moment. Within me is a piece of the Creator. I am divine.
Within me is a piece of the Creator. I am divine.
My divinity means that I am loved and supported by a multitude of holy beings.
My divinity means that I am loved and supported by a multitude of holy beings.
I give permission for spiritual intervention so that I am always guided by love and compassion.
I give permission for spiritual intervention so I am always guided by love and compassion.
I expect benevolence for all things in all ways.
I expect benevolence for all things in all ways.
We're going to repeat those same affirmations one more time. Within me is a piece of the Creator. I am divine.
Within me is a piece of the Creator. I am divine.
My divinity means that I am loved and supported by a multitude of holy beings.
My divinity means that I am loved and supported by a multitude of holy beings.
I give permission for spiritual intervention so that I am always guided by love and compassion.
I give permission for spiritual intervention so that I am always guided by love and compassion.
I expect benevolence for all things in all ways.
I expect benevolence for all things in all ways. I love the idea of having benevolence in all things in all ways. I also love that we don't have to specify what that is. It allows for things to come to us that are even better than what we can plan. It's the perfect way to start our evening and create a bubble of love around us.
So let's keep this bubble of love and move into a meditation right before we hear a channel from Kryon. I invite you to close your eyes and focus on a bubble of love that is around you. Feel the space between the physical you and this bubble that is around you. And as you feel the space between you and this bubble, the molecules and the very fabric of matter that surrounds you has an ingredient that glues everything together. And this glue, the glue of all things, is ascended love consciousness. It is the same ascended love consciousness that exists within the stars, within the galactic family that sees you, knows you, loves you, and is always broadcasting this love to you. And yet, all of these things that surround you, from the stars and the heavens above to the bubble that's around you, is also found within you, within your DNA. For that is where you have little antennas and receptors that allow for instantaneous communication with the Creator. It is not something that is outside of you. It is something that is already within you. And so with this connection from above and below, from without to within, let us welcome in a new message from Kryon.
The Indigos are here. Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. I wish to explain this, and I think many of you have heard of the Indigo children. I want to tell you something that is quite exciting. The series we've been doing this week, this month, last week, maybe even next week, is about the future. You sit in a new year. You give New Year's resolutions, and we are starting to tell you about a new future. More than one that has the intent of your resolutions, or more than one where you're asking the angels to help you as you move forward onto a new track, which we have been discussing. There is something else. How many of you have heard the term, the Indigo children? You're looking at the source right now of the term as given in 1999. My partner was involved at that time speaking to a woman who actually originated the idea of seeing another color energy coming into the planet. Her name was Nancy Tappy. And she introduced that indigo color that she was seeing around children. And at that point, my partner said, is it okay to expose this to the world, to say there is a new consciousness that is here? The woman was a synesthesiac. That is, she had synesthesia. That is a brain enhancement where you see things perhaps that most brains do not, and sense things that most brains do not. She would sense personality types. And the one that was starting to come into this planet was indeed called Indigo. A book was released called The Indigo Children, the first time the planet-wide had ever heard the term, and the rest is history. For the book was a bestseller indeed, because so many parents were wondering what was up with their kids. School systems were wondering what's up with their kids. The appearance of ADD and ADHD came along with this, like they never were there before. And then finally, even the drugs to help the parents were there as well. It was a phenomenon, and it was real. And there it sat. Because these children were indeed different and had to grow into the societies they were in, all over the world, in order to take a position that I said back then, in 1999, when I told you back then that it would take a generation for them to grow up and make a difference for the future of humanity. Well, they've arrived. They are starting to grow up and take the very positions that they can make a difference to from that point of view that they have in consciousness for the planet. You see, an Indigo grew up seeing a dysfunctional system. And you might say, well, which one? And the answer is all of them. The first one was perhaps the way they were taught in school. Another one, perhaps the way they were parented. Another one, as they grew up, perhaps they saw as when they went to work and how that was managed or not managed. Another one was in politics, where everyone seemed to hate each other instead of doing something for the people. These are the Indigos, and they focus, you might say, on the dysfunction in front of them, and they have better ways. They really do. That is the difference, dear ones, between an Indigo and a non-Indigo, where they would see that which is in front of them, not just object that it seemed dysfunctional, but know exactly what to do to get to a solution that was not dysfunctional. This got them in trouble. ADD, ADHD, you can call it what you wish. Sometimes it's just mistaken for overactive personalities, and other times it's because the one they label that simply won't calm down with their ideas. They get in trouble a lot. Imagine being forced into school and realizing everything you're being shown and taught was dysfunctional. It could have been done much, much better. It actually enforces a system where bullies reign. It enforces a system where learning is slow. It enforces a system where there's really no individualism, and everybody is asked to sit in the chair and do a certain thing. This is what the Indigos rejected. This is what they rejected on and on. That's why they were sent home over and over. Well, your son, your daughter, well, they're disruptive. What if they recognized dysfunctionality and refused to work with it? What if they just said no? The problem is they were kids. And the answer is they couldn't do anything. They just had to, they didn't have, of course, their means. It was all their parents. They didn't have the means to go anywhere or do anything, or they weren't anything but kids. And so they had to fit into a slot that didn't work. It just didn't work. Go ahead and ask them. The future is filled with the emergence of the Indigos because they are now here. Now I ask you, for those watching me online, perhaps in a way that is apart from the membership that would watch me, perhaps you're watching on a social media such as YouTube, I want to ask you, have you seen any young people do podcasts that would surprise you. That they would be very young, they would be under 30, and they would be talking like they had the attributes of mastery. Or what if they were asking the questions that only would come, for instance, for those who were older and examining their lives and asking about what's next and asking about the idea of past lives and going into these things that almost no young people did. Have you seen that? Oh, it's everywhere. If you have not seen it, go find it, and you will. And the thing is, they're not young people talking to old people. They're young people talking to young people. They're starting to ask them, perhaps is there something called an oversoul? They're starting to ask the questions, what is God? They're starting to ask the questions, is the teaching that they learned that was divine and spiritual all through their young lives, is it actually true? Does it have an application that's practical? Or is it, ready, mythology? Coming from indigos. Some of them are now in line to be principals in schools. A few of them are going to be principals in the schools they used to be in that they caused trouble in. We told you this would be the way it was. And in those positions in school, in education, the indigos will be able to start asking the questions to those who fund the schools, who say it has to be this way. And then they can push back to a higher source. And they may very well be able to change the school systems into what they know is not dysfunctional. It is starting to happen. This is the future. It's slow, dear ones. You'll start to see these children work their way into young adult, and then into adult, and then into mature adult. You think, well, how long is that going to take? And the answer is as long as it takes, because this is the future that I told you was coming. This is a future that has more hope than if it was always the same. If you simply had history repeat itself, and the dysfunction kept going and going and going. I told you in 1999 that was not going to be the case. And here you are in 2025, a generation later, and they're here. And you can see them on your social media asking the kinds of questions that young people never asked before. What happens when they're old enough to make a little bit of noise in politics? What happens when they look around and they say, I know you're on the other side of the aisle, but you're my age. Let's get together for breakfast. Let's start something new. Let's not hate each other. Oh, it's coming. And it's going to be an indictment for the seniors of Congress who have no idea. They don't even like each other anymore. They don't know what dysfunction is because they've lived in it. It's a habit. It's a habit. And the young people will see it, recognize it, know it, and change it. There'll still be 2, 3 parties, whatever you want to, except they'll look across the aisle and have lunch together finally. Or say, I don't agree with you at all, but I still understand you're a patriot. I still understand you're trying for your country, so am I. This is coming. How many of you have been told that what's coming is a disaster instead? How many of you told that doom is inevitable? I want you to think again. First of all, stop watching the news, because that's where you're hearing it. And start watching some of the social media instead of the young people starting to ask the questions on their podcasts and having many with them answering them. I told you it was coming, and it's here. It begins now.
And your ancestor is inviting you to touch it. And what this plate is it represents your entire soul's lineage connected to this ancestral lineage. So I want you to just take and touch the plate. And you might want to hover your hand over the plate. You might want to actually place your hand or just a finger on it. And what you're going to do is you're just going to breathe with this beautiful ancestral lineage that's connected to your soul's lineage, because you have been born into this lineage, and it is going to be always a part of your soul lineage. And I want you to just feel the power and the magnificence and the beautiful wisdom that this holds for you. And there's a little bit of light language that wants to come through. It's going to sound a little bit like a foreign language. Torasi troka trasina mutra trasikara mutresi trokaha trasina moha. And then what I want you to do is I want you to tap wherever you're being guided to tap on this beautiful golden plate. And you're going to tap that section, that space, that little part, and you're going to tap it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And what's going to happen is this plate is going to open up. And what's going to open up is this beautiful crystalline energy. And the ancestor is going to look at you. And it's going to invite you to start to let go of some of the baggage that the ancestors want you to let go of, that's going to help support the lineage in moving forward. And this ancestor is going to share, and it might be more than one, but one's going to speak as a collective. It's going to share some of the baggage that you might not even be aware of, that they are wanting you to let go of. And as they're sharing this, I want you to feel as if this beautiful crystalline energy that's hovering over this plate is going to start extracting this baggage out of your DNA, out of your cells, out of your energy system, out of the tissues, out of the bones, out of all parts of your body and being. And I want you to just listen. And there's going to be a moment of silence while you're sensing, feeling, seeing, imagining, knowing, hearing what the ancestors are sharing with you. And you might not know exactly what it is, but just trust the process as it's being extracted from you. And as they're sharing what baggage they're inviting you to let go of, these ancestors are going to start placing their hands, their energy, their wisdom all around you. And so you might feel as if you're being just hugged with love. And what they're doing is they're working with you energetically on strengthening the DNA, strengthening the tissues, the bones in your body. They're also supporting in the extraction process that's being held within the mind, body, soul. And I want you to feel as if there's all these different color frequencies that are coming in. It's almost like a kaleidoscope of different colors that are coming in, and they're gently. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be this big rush of energy. It can be very, very gently. And this is going to integrate over quite a bit of time. So it's not all at once, because we want it to be gentle on the physical body. And they're gently going in, and they may even be sharing more and more of what they're wanting you to achieve, your greatness. They may be sharing insights of where you're going next, just by letting this go, these baggages, these belief systems, these old patternings, these old habits that are outdated, that are no longer necessary for you to carry forward in the lineage. I want you to just feel their power, their strength surrounding you. I want you to feel this extraction. I want you to imagine like your whole chakra system is realigning. And I want you to just get in tune to the ancestors surrounding you. And there's going to be another moment of silence while you just sit in this sacred energy and this sacred transmission that the healing is taking place within you. Dora sara mutra kasina mutru sinematra traksira korasina mutra parasi trosikara mutraha sanama sanama sanama. And then I want you to sense, feel, see, or imagine that that crystalline energy that was hovering over the plate starts to dissipate. And then the plate, that golden plate that you were touching, that represents your ancestral lineage connected to your soul lineage, is coming back in to view. And I want you to notice the subtle or massive changes that has occurred within this beautiful, sacred, golden plate that represents your ancestral lineage. And I want you to hover your hands or touch any part of the plate that you're being guided to touch. And depending on the size of your plate, you may even want to allow other parts of your body to touch this plate. This is a part of you. This is not separate from you. Feel and do whatever it is that you're being guided to do with this beautiful ancestral plate that represents you, represents your ancestors, represents your soul lineage. Sikarasa, rosa, rosa, rosa. Surgasimo droha samatri sirakura sanamaha. And then as you're connecting with this plate, there's going to be another ancestor. This may be one that you've already connected to or a completely different one that's going to come up to you and look at you eye to eye. And I want you to really look into your ancestors' eyes. You might sense them, feel them, know them. And as you're looking at your ancestors' eyes, they're going to share a very important message with you. Very, very important message with you. And they're also going to gift you with something. So I want you to receive that or download it to receive at a later date. And then you're going to give the ancestors a hug. You're going to feel their love for you. And you're going to thank them for their wisdom and their courage to support you in changing the lineage. And when you're ready, you're going to take a nice deep breath in, cleansing breath out. You're going to start to feel back into your body. You're going to take another nice deep breath in, feeling your energy on the exhale moving back into your heart space. Feeling the edges of your body, maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. You can even rub your hands together if that feels good. You can cup your hands over your eyes. You can bring your hands about a foot away from your face and slowly blinking your eyes open, looking at the palms of your hands, coming back into this space and time. Taking your time. Taking your time. How are you feeling? How are you doing? If you're feeling a little dizzy or a little disorientated, give yourself permission to rub your body with your hands if that's accessible to you. You can even gently rub your ears, rub your face, gently tap your body. That's helpful as well. If you're feeling good and excited, that's awesome. If you're feeling sad or a little off, know that sometimes it's hard to process these things when we take these journeys. And it's old emotions that could be coming to the surface to process and to let go of. And so you could just take some nice deep breaths in, cleansing breaths out, really taking your time coming back to. I want to encourage you to journal anything that you received from your ancestors. And remember, some of it might not make complete sense yet. Some of you may be receiving a lot of messages through synchronicities, dreams, and through meditation and journaling. And I want to encourage you to make space for that. I want to encourage you to look and notice at the signs that your ancestors are sharing with you. I also want to share another message from the guardians about the work that the ancestors are doing with us in this coming year and beyond this year. And the guardians are saying this. The masters, the masters, teachers, and loved ones are showing me a picture of the ancestors as all these different beautiful colors. You're like, where is that even coming from? I've never even thought about this. And now all of a sudden I have this desire. Sit with it, play with it, think about it, meditate on it. Because when you start changing, your desires start to change, and your heart, your ancestors, and your higher self will lead you down a more aligned path than you could ever imagine. And more doors are going to open up for you. Remember, you always have the opportunity to play more with your ancestors, to manifest your dreams. And most importantly, if you are like, I want to know more about the Akashic Records, know that the Akashic Records start speaking to you when they are ready to support you in your life. And so if this is speaking to you, trust that and go down the path of exploring them, because they want to support you in opening up new doors and new avenues and manifesting the life of your dream. So I hope you are excited to play with the ancestors. I hope you're excited to play with the Akashic Records. And I am just hoping and praying that you have many, many, many more blessings sending your way and that you are going to manifest in this new year. So thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Back to you, Monica and Lee.
Thank you so much, Amy. And I loved every part of that session. I was just so in the experience. And then I really felt that towards the end, it was a chrysalis that had formed around me. It was like the lineage of the ancestors. We were all together breaking down our DNA to create the new DNA from that experience.
Amy may not know this, but our Circle of 12 that we're doing for 4 years is much like that, where we take people across the bridge over the veil and ask them to, in the oneness of everything, to meet their ancestors. So this is a very common thing that Kryon has been doing, and now to have the expert, that is you, leading a meditation is very, very similar. Tells me I think we're all on the right track. There is information to be gleaned from our Akash. It's starting to speak to us in a way that it never has before. Wow. Do you have any words, any last words for our people?
Yeah, so it's really fun to see how our work overlaps with one another as well, because we're all here to spread love and spread the message. And I think that the ancestors have been coming in more and more and more and more, and they really want to support us in the changes that we can make to raise our consciousness here. And so I just absolutely love that, Lee and Monica. And I could feel that too, Monica, when you were saying that you could feel it as a chrysalis. I could feel it in my power center when you said that as well. And so, and if anybody's also interested in learning more about the Akashic Records, I do have a free masterclass that's coming up where we do all of this and so much more. And it's a Soul of Evolution masterclass series that we're doing with the Akashic Records. And it's the amyrobeson.com/masterclass if you're interested. It's a 10-day free series.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Amy. And I want everyone to take those blessings of the ancestors with you now as we go to a break. And then we will see you back here for Miracle Moments and the Circle of 12.